welcome to the webinar. And we have a bit different setting because the demand for the webinar with David Pereira was so big that we had to change to YouTube and StreamYard. But great that we have you here. And David, please join us.
Hello, everyone. Here I am.
Hello. So it's like I'm not used to, because we usually do Google Meet calls, but this time the number of attendees exceeded my license. So it's like the topic seems to be quite hot, and I'm happy to have you here. And I saw the meetup with David already in one webinar in Stockholm. So I think you will enjoy it. And yeah, I would like, we can wait like one more minute, or we can start right away, because I think like most of the people expect us to start like maybe 5 minutes after, but maybe we can start in 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's fine. I can just talk here a little bit. I'm curious to share some things. I added some more topics in comparison to what I presented in Product Bits, and I hope that people can benefit from that as well.
But you are in Munich now.
Yeah, now I'm in Munich. Okay. And you are in Berlin, right?
Yes, so it's like like a Polish-Brazilian Berlin Munich webinar across Europe. So it's like the pandemic makes many things possible that would be like harder before.
Yeah, that's true. Now it's so natural to do these kind of things with people all over the world, but it's really cool also.
Okay, so maybe we can start sharing, and I don't know how to leave this tool, but maybe you can kick me out.
Okay, I will start sharing my screen here. So for now, I guess you are just seeing me. So I will share a presentation here, but the idea is to have an exchange, and that's not just a presentation where I talk. I would expect you to ask some questions. I can read here the comments, and then eventually I will answer them. So let's start here. I guess you are seeing my screen, and okay, I'm just selecting here this one. I think it's a better one to present. So today we're gonna talk about one of my favorite topics, and this is the Rebel product owner. And there's a reason why I say it's a Rebel product owner. It's something. It's hard to be a product owner. Most of the companies do not provide the right environment and so on. And sometimes I even say product owner exists only in the fantasy world. And anyway, we need to be successful. What can we do? So it's up to us to make some hard decisions and change the game. So I will share some insights with you, some things that I have done. And let's have a look here at the agenda, what I planned for today. I will just give a quick overview. Who am I? And then you can understand a little bit more of my background. And then I will explore the reality of product owners in comparison to what Scrum suggests. And I will share some of my perceptions of terrible product owner mutations. A secret for you, I've done all of that already. And then we will explore breaking the rules, which is exactly the main topic here, the Rebel product owner. So I see already 56 people here. So thank you for everyone joining here, taking the time after work, 6 p.m. I guess you're tired. So I will try to be as engaging as possible. It's a topic I'm really passionate about, and I hope you can benefit from it. And for those who don't know me, I'm David Pereira. I am the head of product management at Virtual Identity. It's an agency in Munich, and we also have offices in Vienna, Freiburg, and Porto. But now everything is virtual, that it doesn't really matter where our offices are. Everyone is working from home, and that's how it goes now. And I have 10 years experience with product management in different scenarios. I have worked from startups, like startups that started 3 months, and then I joined the company, from startups to big corporations of 100,000 people. And I have learned many things, mainly what not to do as a product manager or as a product owner. And mainly this is what I write the most. And I am a writer, an editor in Series Scrum, and I write once a week or sometimes even twice a week. I love sharing because when I share, I exchange with more people and I learn a lot from it. And if you want to get more content, you can follow me on Medium or LinkedIn. I post everything there. And I define myself as a very curious person because my mantra is like, no one is too good that has nothing to learn, and no one is too bad that has nothing to share. So that's how I perceive everything. But now I talked a lot about me, and it's time to go for the real content here. I'd like to start looking at the role of a product owner because I said here the rebel product owner. But first, let's try to understand who is the product owner. And when I look at the Scrum Guide, I love looking at that because it says it is accountable for maximizing the value of the product resulting and blah, 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 blah. But then it comes how this is done may vary across organization. It is a fuzzy definition. It's open to many interpretations, but you see this word accountable, it's not always true. And it's hard to grasp what is real product owner. I like more definition from Bob Galen, and he says there are four quadrants of a product owner. And he defines as product management, leadership, business analysis, and project management. That is more realistic and easier to understand, and also easier to see the size of a responsibility of a product owner, because we need to be the ones creating the vision, the mission, and inspire the team to fulfill that. And also, we are the ones who empathize with the customers and define what needs to be done, because not all problems are worth solving, and we need to find the ones that are exactly the ones that customers care about it and they generate value for the business. And still, we need to find a way how to measure the outcome. And if it doesn't work, what to do about it. And we have to analyze how to make that. So we need to understand what business value is. We need to create a strategy to reach that. So we have business analysis. And still, there's some responsibility of project management. When to do something, what to do, what not to do. And if you look at all of this, it's one person. And it seems a little bit unrealistic. So that is why it comes a lot of mutations. I wrote one article recently and I said, sorry, Scrum, the game might be over for you. And there are many reasons behind it. One of them is I believe product owner lives only in the fantasy world. The Scrum product owner doesn't really exist. And I think these guys, together with the Scrum Master, by the book, because the world doesn't allow people to be product owner by the book. And what do we find here? We find a sad reality. Scrum didn't tell us what happens in real life. It's generally not like it's written there. People trust product owners and the organization, and teams are self-organized. My first job as a product owner, I came there and I thought, now I am the ones who make the decisions. That's super cool. And I will decide what is important for the product and work on this and so on. But when I landed there, actually, it was a little bit different. I didn't own the prioritization at all. Actually, someone else was always defining what should be done. There's someone calling the shots. And what I realized, this is not something I was the one who experienced. And it was not that company only, because then I changed the job after. And then it came another scenario. There was a committee defining what is next. And they learned that many times organizations say, well, we work agile. And that's how it is. Product owners decide what to do. They just need to follow this roadmap. And then the roadmap is full of features to deliver. And there's no goal to achieve there. The roadmap is we implement, for example, a recommendation program by the end of Q1. We refactor our card. And then it says, you can do everything you want inside that. So you see, there are a lot of mutations and anti-patterns. That is what we face once we start working as a product owner. And then what that leads to? That leads to another scenario. Nobody cares about the end users. So we are locked in a trap. What is the goal we have? The ultimate goal is to deliver the features. And sprint in, sprint out. We keep the machine running and deliver more and more and more features. And the sign you are locked in a build trap, as I was, is the only goal you can set to a sprint goal is by the end of the sprint, we deliver all features we commit. The commitment is done on a feature level. It's never done on a sprint goal level. The team has no room to play on how to achieve the goal. The only playground the team has is to find a way to deliver the features faster, but nothing else than that. And another characteristic of being locked on a build trap, this is what I call as we only add, we never remove. And it doesn't matter what happened. Something makes to the live environment that will not come back. It's like a remote control, you know? The remote control, the only thing you want to do is to switch the channel or to manage the sound. And that's the only thing you cannot do because it's so cluttered, full of buttons there, and you cannot find how to press these buttons. And I see some products like that. It's full of features, but the features, they actually hurt the product to generate value because the core value is missing. Nobody knows what is that for. And the sign of the build trap is you don't delete anything. And for me, it's like a sentence from a famous designer is a good product is not the one you have nothing else to add, but is the one you have nothing else to remove. And this is something that we need to reflect. And it's still another scenario I see in all of this product world is there's no real contact with end users. The contact as a product owner we have are the stakeholders. And the stakeholders, they wish for more and more features. It doesn't matter what you do, you will never fulfill all of their wishes because they want features. And then we miss the value. And stakeholders, they say, I know what my user wants. So you just do as I say, and then we will be successful. I doubt if that works. Well, I have done that multiple times, and I will share what happened here. But this is a problem. We face that. Stakeholders want us to be a feature owner. It's not a product owner. They tell us what is the feature, and then we go and deliver. And another scenario I see clearly is the lack of product management. It's pretty easy to become a product owner, or at least a certified product owner. You can be a PSPO or a CSPO. But to have the required product management knowledge is hard, and that takes time. And what start happening is people go and get certified in the market, and then they think they are a product owner. It's not so simple like that. It takes more than a certification to say you are able to do the job. The certificate, I'm not saying that is pointless, but that it might be only a step. You have more to do that. But what happens when we see all of these anti-patterns? It's easy for us to slide into mutations. It's pretty simple for us to fall into some pitfalls and become something else other than a product owner. And here I'd like to ask you, what do you see here? You see, it's not funny to show this picture now because it's almost dinner time, but you see this tasty burger and you see a waiter. Is it a waiter or maybe is it a product owner? That is my question. Let's have a comparison here. What does a waiter do? You go to a restaurant when you can, and then the waiter will come to you and say, excuse me, sir, what would you like to order? And then you say, well, I want a burger. And the waiter may look at you and say, would you like French fries? Something to drink? But he will not question you if you can eat the burger and if the burger is the meal you need. It might be what you want, but not what you need. He will just take the order and he will go to the kitchen and then he will say, that's it. And this is the order, just produce it. And The kitchen will cook that, and once it's done, he will come and say, here it is, done. And if you compare to a product owner, what is the case? The case is you go to the stakeholders and they say what they want. We don't challenge if what they want is exactly what they need, or even better, what the end users need. Because the wants of the stakeholders might be disconnected from the needs of the end users. And without users, we cannot be successful. And this is something tricky. Because taking the burger example, maybe the person cannot eat a burger. The person may want, but the person should not. But the waiter doesn't care about it. The only thing waiter will try to sell more. And comparing to the product owner, the stakeholder suggests a feature, maybe we build on top of that. We say, and then we could do that, or we could do this, and we start shaping the feature. And we are totally solution-oriented instead of being problem-oriented. And then what we do? We specify that. It doesn't matter how. It can be user stories or whatever. We find a way of specifying, creating the requirements, and we go to the kitchen. Actually, this time, not the kitchen. We go to the development team and say, here is what we have, and I would like you to produce that. Okay. And then the team will say, okay. The team may question you, but it will go and produce. And then what happens? It happens a lot of unsatisfaction. Because if the product owner try to please everyone, no one will be pleased. Because everyone will ask something. Stakeholders, they will have even conflicting requests. And how we handle that will define how successful we can be. And great product owners should not be waiters. Unfortunately, my first job as a product owner, I was exactly the waiter. I was just taking orders and sending to the product teams. And that didn't work at all. And it was really embarrassing to me to understand I became a waiter instead of a product owner. So now I am going to the second problem. What do you see here? You see this guy, very serious. Could be a boss, a project manager, the one who wants to command and control, or a product owner who behaves as a boss. Sometimes what you may observe is product owners, they transform the data scrum as a status report. They go and they ask the team, like, what have you done since yesterday? And they start asking, did you finish what you commit to? And what are you going to do today? And it's a sign that the product owners are behaving as a boss when, for example, developers are unwilling to start a daily without the product owner. Or something else, developers, they ask for permission. What should I take next? What would you recommend to me, David? Look, I don't care what you should take next. Just take something to complete the sprint goal. I don't care what you are doing. I am here to support, not to command and control. And this is a challenge because sometimes product owners misunderstand where they are and they believe they are in a higher level than developers. Is it true? Of course not. In Scrum, there's no hierarchy. Everyone is in the same level. The Scrum team works together to reach a goal and deliver value for the team, for the user and the business as well. The product owner has a different responsibility than developers. We are not the manager. We are not the boss. We lead the team. And here is the thing. Product owners are not above the Scrum team. We are part of that. And if we misunderstand this, there's only one certainty. We're going to fail. I will go here to the third anti-pattern, and then I will take the time to answer some questions I've seen here already. The third one is this guy here, the guy behind the computers. And he's not talking to anyone. I know nowadays everyone is behind the screens here, and that's how we work. But here I want to illustrate something other than that. I want to illustrate the one who doesn't collaborate, the one who thinks all the solution up front, the product owner who tries to give speed to the team by thinking for them. For example, stakeholder comes with a problem and you can engage with the customer and you realize that is a problem worth solving. And then you say, aha, what could we do for that? And you start creating a solution. And then what you bring to the team is a solution to implement instead of a problem to solve. This is a common pattern from product owners who came from business analysis. I was first a developer, then I became a business analyst, then a product owner. My first job as a product owner, I was first a waiter, and then I transitioned to this, what I'm gonna say now. I thought that to help the team become efficient, I should give as much information as I could. But once I realized the team was frustrated, actually they were furious with me. And once the developer looked at me and said, "Come on, Dave, you only bring us solutions to implement. You never tell us which problem we are solving. And do you think we cannot plan a solution? Do you think we cannot solve a problem? You don't need to think for us. Just bring the problem and let us figure out how to do it." I realized I was always the bottleneck. I was not empowering the team as I should. I was just giving them tasks to execute. Product owners should not do that. And I did that because of the scenario and my lack of knowledge. And what I see is that we should not be responsible for the what. What we should be responsible for is, as a product owner, we are responsible for the why. Why is that worth solving? Why should we focus on this and not on that? We should bring the reason for that, and we bring clarity for the team. And the team will decide on the how. And what about the what? The what is the solution, but the what we define together. As a product owner, I bring the why, and the solution, I don't know. And it's fine not to know. But then together we collaborate and we clear that out. So that is the point of bringing to the team. Now, I will take the time here to answer some questions before I go to the next part of being a rebel. I see here some things. I will point it out. So the customer need is, of course, at the center of product development. Nevertheless, don't you think that product development should be also aligned with company strategy? Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you on that. Sometimes we don't have that clear. And what do we do? Because if we don't know what we are fighting for, then everything is arguably a priority. And I will share a story about it, but you're totally right. Product development has to be aligned with the company strategy. Without that, there is only one certainty, and this is called confusion. So I see another one here, but I didn't understand the question directly. Isn't the customer the major stakeholder? Yeah, now I understand, because it was separated, the word stakeholder. But that is a good question. I like separating customers from stakeholders because, yeah, in theory, customers are stakeholders. Everyone is a stakeholder, everyone who is involved somehow in the product. But customers itself, actually, they are like, the product exists to serve the customer. The product or service exists for one single purpose: to make the lives of customers better. That is why it exists. And that's why I prefer using the word customer separated from stakeholders. For me, I take stakeholders as the business people, the ones who will help us achieve the goal. But one thing I want to highlight here, I talked a lot about the stakeholders as they are the evil part of product. Stakeholders are not our enemies, very far from that. But they are also not our customers. Stakeholders are our partners. As a product person, we don't know everything. If you go to an e-commerce, for example, it's complex. Imagine if you work on the logistics, you may not know all the hardness of there and the complexities and everything, but the stakeholder will know how the operations work, and you should partner with them to help achieve the value and unleash that. So stakeholders are not enemies, they are our partners. How we treat them is the ultimate thing, and sometimes we misunderstand that. Okay, if there are no more questions, I will just continue here. And now I go to my favorite part. Well, you see, the scenario is not really in our favor. We arrive there aren't patterns. Someone else is calling the shots, someone else is defining. Nobody cares about the end users, and there's a lack of product management. Still, we are the ultimate responsible for maximizing the value. How do we do that? Well, in my perception, if the game is not in our favor, we should change the rules. We should be a rebel and break the rules and rock. Now I will share some examples here. The first one I want to share is what I call product vision. And this is what you mentioned here that should be aligned with this strategy, right? Um, how you really mentioned this. We have to be aligned with the strategy. And I see the product vision being the strategy. And what happens? Quite often we don't have a product vision or we have a fuzzy one. What is the product vision? Product vision is for me a guiding principle. It's a North Star. I look at that and I know where we want to go. And the product vision should allow us to make decisions on what to do as well as what not to do. And a great example for me of this was what Kennedy said in the 60s. He said clearly, by the end of the decade, we will land a man on the moon and return him back safe to Earth. Simple like that. You look at this sentence, it's powerful. You can imagine a man going to the moon. Imagine on the 60s. It's possible to imagine. But you think, can we do that? Well, if you can imagine, it's challenging, but possible. And it's clear and inspiring. That is what a great product vision is. It's clear, challenging, and inspiring. It will provide you guidance for your next steps. Great product owners should set great product visions. And if you don't set that, it will be hard because then everything can be a priority. Everyone brings something, and without a product vision, you cannot ask I would say, one of my favorite questions. When someone brings something, I just ask this question: how does this help us get close to the product vision? And if there's no clear answer to that, say, what is it that important then? Maybe it's not for now. They said, let's put in the backlog for later. I said, no, we're not putting that in the backlog. We need to focus and achieve the product vision. Now, I go to this. I really like this question. Not this question, this attitude. Start with the end in mind. And for that, I want to share a case. The case is the following. When I was in Brazil, I worked in a company that was an online shop. And we sold wines all over Brazil. And then it happened the case that the management board was presenting the roadmap for the next quarters. And the roadmap was really big. It was something like this. We will implement a review feature. We will refine our cart. We will also review our product detail page. And then we will have a brand update. I look at that, I couldn't connect that to anything, to a major goal to achieve. And then as an annoying person that I am, I asked, okay, but I want to understand, what is the change we want to observe once we make all of this? What is the value that will go up or down? And then they didn't know. The management board didn't really know what we want to achieve. And then I had to ask another question. Okay, but what is the biggest problem we have now in this organization? There was a silence during that moment. There was a real silence until someone, a new analyst, came and said, I have something to say. The problem we are having now is our customer acquisition cost is too high for our customer lifetime value, which means our business is unsustainable. No matter what we do, we are unprofitable. And if we don't solve that, we will bleed out until we go bankrupt. That was powerful. Then we look at that, it seems we have something to solve. And we start talking. And then we said, what if what we could do is to bring this business to a sustainable business? Because for now, we have something that is unprofitable. And we realized our customer acquisition cost was high. Then we said, what can we do to develop a new customer acquisition cost that is cheaper than this one? Then what we said, The goal is by the end of the quarter, we have a customer acquisition cost reduced by 30%. That was the goal. How to do that? You're free to go. And then we started understanding what were the opportunities we would have. And first, I liked doing this. I went to the customer service and I said, what do our customers talk about us? And what I got to know is our NPS score, the Net Promoter Score, was pretty high. We had 9.2. And that means our customers are promoters. They are willing to recommend us to their friends. And then we said, what if we could create a recommendation program that an existing customer can bring their friends in exchange of a bottle of wine for both of them? And then we created this hypothesis. And what the management said, well, a bottle of wine would be way cheaper than our current acquisition cost. And then we tested, but we didn't develop the whole solution. We developed a broken prototype. And the broken prototype didn't work so well, but we realized customers were willing to do that. And what happened? We made it a little better. And then we tested again. We learned something different and we improved. And then the third time we decided to implement a real MVP and roll out that for small customers. And there were some constraints. Some people were saying, we need a full process because how are we going to put that in the invoice? How are we going to block this wine? And so on and so on. We need answers for everything. I said, no, we don't need answers for everything. We need to understand and if this is an initiative that will get us to this 30% reduction. Let's first things first. Let's validate if that would happen. And then we tested. And it came to the point that actually customers were really willing to recommend. And our recommendations skyrocketed because customers love this thing. And what we did, we put an exclusive wine. You couldn't buy that. There was no chance for you to get that bottle of wine besides bringing a friend to us. This is what I want to tell you. Start with the end in mind, then you will find how to get there. But if you don't have the end, well, sorry, you cannot get there because then you don't know where there is. And now I go to another case I would like to share with you. And this is what I call don't accept solutions to implement. Well, this is a tricky one. When I joined this startup in Brazil called Instacarro, my first day was tricky, really tricky. Because the previous day, it was a Sunday, the CEO called me and said, I need you to come to this address here because my wife's sick and I cannot go to the office. We will meet on the lounge of the hospital. For me, it was a little bit awkward, but a startup feeling. I said, okay, let's do it. The meeting didn't last long. It was my first day. And he looked at me and presented some of the ideas. And he said the following, your mission is to increase the engagement of the dealer's app by 30%. And that's it. I don't want excuses. I want that done. Go and get that done. And I look at that and he stood up and left. I was speechless. I didn't know what to do. I reflect for a while. And I thought, what he said actually is, we need to increase the engagement of the dealers. The app is the solution, which I need to validate if it is the right one. And when he used the number 30%, I was doubting if this solution was relevant for the dealers. Let me make it tangible for you. What is this business model? This was a copy from CarPrice, that is a Russian business model. It's simple like that. You have a car and you want to sell, and it's bureaucratic to sell. You don't want to deal with that. It is really tricky. What do you want to do? You want to sell your car as fast as possible. What we wanted to do was to connect people who want to sell the car with dealers in Brazil who want to buy the cars. And how did we do that? Simple like this. The car owners would drive their cars to an inspection point, and we would inspect the car in 30 minutes and put in an auction platform. And dealers all over Brazil would compete for the car. And the winning bid would be presented to the car owner, and he or she could decide, I take it or I turn down. If I take, I receive the money and go home by cab. If I don't take it, I don't pay anything and I go home by my car. What we realized was we had a resistance from the dealers. They were not really engaging. We had an app, and this was 2017, the year, just to make it clear. But dealers were not really using that. They were not placing a lot of bids. Most of our auctions, we had from 5 to 10 bids, and it was not so competitive. We wanted to have something more competitive. And what we did was the following. I said, I'm not so sure if this app is the solution. I need to engage with the user. I need to empathize. I decided to visit 20 dealers in Brazil and understand how they buy cars and if they were willing to experiment with something different. On the fourth or fifth dealer, I was sure I found a pattern. All the dealers, they had at least a 24-inch screen, and they were searching in the portals like the Auto Scout here in Germany, but they were in the secondhand cars, and they were looking there and so on, and finding the cars and calling people and so on. But they were zooming everything to see the car details. And then I asked them, what is important for you when you choose the car? And some people said, security. I want to buy a car that is reliable. And I said, what else? He said, I want to ensure I don't waste my time. I want to see the car's details clearly. And I said, okay. I said, what about buying from the smartphone? He said, no way. Smartphone is too small. I cannot see anything there. And I asked this question for all dealers, and all of them said the same. So no, smartphone, I would never ever use that. This is not enough for me. And then I brought that to the development team, and I said exactly this. I just communicated what I heard, and the dealers were really unwilling to use our app. And developers said, oh, this is bullshit. Our app is great, and we developed with the best technology we could, and so on and so on. So they are not willing to do. What can we do? And then I said, they are willing to use a web platform somehow. I said, well, actually, we have the API done. We could just set up the front end very quickly, and then we test. And we invested 2 sprints in that. I had an MVP, and then we tested. And after that, I just shared with a couple of dealers, the ones I visited, and they were engaging. And then I started sharing with more. And what happened? I realized we could provide the security they wanted, because buying a car from us, they could return the car in 1 month if it was not what they wanted to buy. For any reason, they could return. And we could increase the engagement. So after a couple of months, we increased the engagement by more than 50%. Well, in a startup, it's not hard to get this number, and it was 3 months old. So it's not a big number in this case. But then I went to talk to the CEO, and he looked at me and said, wow, I'm really proud of the result you achieved with the team. What did you do with the app? I said, that's the thing. We discontinued the app. We decided not to use that anymore. He went crazy. He was like this, wow, why did you do that? I said, because the app is not the solution the dealers want. And I said, they have a problem finding the cars, and we could solve this problem, but not with the app, with a web platform. And that's what we did. And that's why they are participating now. And here the message is simple. Don't take requests from anyone as an order. You should read between the lines. It was clear what was supposed to achieve, what was the goal, increased engagement, and how to do it. Well, we need to be bold. Well, from my side, it was an interesting decision, because had I failed, well, I would be fired. No other outcome from that. But it was clear I would fail if I would implement exactly what he said. So we need to be bold as a product owner. And if we are not bold, well, then we should reflect if we really want to be a product owner. So this was the story I wanted to share with you. Even if it is a CEO, don't take that as an order. Understand what is the outcome you want to achieve, and then go for that. And the thing is, we should not see problems as blockers. We as product owners, we should see problems as a challenge and find a way to overcome that. Because developers, for example, they told me about this last problem. Wow, that's crazy. We're fucked up. That's the words they use. I said, no, let's see what we can do. We have an alternative. We have something here. We don't have a competitor for that in Brazil. So we have a big opportunity. Let's see what we have and what we can do. So don't take problems as the end. Take that as something and you can overcome. And to be a problem solver, what is the mindset we should have? I like looking at assumptions. And then you ask, are they validated? Is something here unclear? And the assumptions, if they are not validated, well, it's our responsibility to go there and find a way of validating it. So we have to engage with people and go and validate the assumptions. No matter what, we find how to make it happen. And there's another. Every now and then, I work with a Scrum team, and there is no UX person there. There's no UX expertise in the team. But still, whatever we do that for the end user. Even to the best of my abilities, I'm not a UX officer. I try to understand. I always go to the management and I say, we need a UX in the team. But if we don't have, someone needs to do at least the minimum. And I believe the product owner being accountable for the outcome and maximizing the value, we are the one who have to understand that. And this one here, if we receive requirements to implement, we need to clarify the needs behind each requirement. Because the requirement may be just a sentence, what we have to do, but it's missing what is that for and why we have to do that. And if we don't understand why and what for, well, then we are failing our role. We need to keep asking questions until we get the answers we need. Otherwise, how can we ensure we are leading the team in a successful direction? And if decisions are made without the understanding of the end users, well, that's what you have to challenge. It was the example of the dealer's app. The decision of using the app was made because the world is mobile and everyone should use smartphone now. Well, it depends where you are, what business you do. Until you can understand the users, you are not ready to talk about solution. And there, we talked about solution before understanding the end user. This doesn't go. And it's our responsibility to ensure first things first. So what I want to tell you is the following. It's time to break the rules and become a real product owner. The road is not really good for us as a product owner. But if you want to succeed, don't ask for permission. Eventually, you may need to ask for forgiveness. But permission, just go and do it. Because if you waste your time asking for, oh, how can we do that and so on, can we do that? Well, you have 50% of chance of receiving a no. But if you do something and you prove with results, then everything is fine. There will be times you will fail and results will not be there, but it's okay if you have delivered results. And if we are not failing, it means we are not pushing hard enough. And when we fail, the question is, what can we learn from that? So here, this is the main part. The attitude is just go and do it, but you have to deliver value. So this is what is being a rebel product owner. But you need to be consequent. Your decisions will have consequences, and you need to bear them. And if you want to know more about it, I have a course, and I call that the Strong Product Owner. And I created this course is sold already for people of 47 countries, and I share these ideas. And you will understand what it takes to become a strong product owner. You will know the skill set, how to get there, and how to handle successfully your activities. And the most important part, how to avoid the traps ahead of you, because there are many traps. And if you want to succeed as a product owner, you need to know the traps and how to avoid them. The link of this course is in the description of this video. If you like what I have to share, maybe you will like the course. But for now, I want to take the time to answer more questions. And you can follow me on this social media, Medium, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I'm on all of them. Now let's see here the questions. I hope you have enjoyed the talk here. I have shared what I have learned over my career here about being a product owner. It is hard, but it's really delightful when you can solve real problems. Let's see here. What else we have? I have this question here. David is pretty good on requirements, but question, how does PO do architecture solution design? I don't think the PO does that. I think this is something done with the whole team. This is in a more collaborative way, in my perception. What I see is the PO identifies opportunities that is worth pursuing. And then we bring why that and what we want to achieve. And together with the team, and here I mean developers, UX design, and also UI, we do it in a collaborative way and we reach the design we want, the solution. But the PO doesn't do that alone. I used to do that alone, but the team hate me when I did that. It was a not good idea for me. We have more questions from Raul. Please write comments here. And if you like the video, just hit the like button, subscribe for more videos. And let's see what else we have here. Some problems may present themselves as chance. There are some problems, though, that are just risks. How do you think PO should handle those problems? Oh, that's a pretty interesting question. And I really like this because it doesn't, when I say being a problem solver, it is we need to understand which problems are worth solving. And there are two dimensions here. When it comes to battles, going in conflicts, we need to pick our battles. Not all battles are worth fighting. We need to understand that. And for me, are battles that enable us to become a better team. The battles that enable us to deliver more value are the ones we should pick. And when it comes to the problems we want to solve, I like looking into 3 dimensions. It's very simple. We have the users. Do they care about it? Yeah, they care about this problem because they're not all problems they care about. They have some problems they don't care at all. So if they care about the problem, can we generate any kind of business value from this problem? Yes. Then does the technology we have is enough to solve that? In other words, can we solve that as a team? And if we find the intersection between customer interest, business viability, and technology feasibility, then that is a problem worth solving. I was expecting this question about roadmap, how are road mapping. Roadmap for me has to be OKRs, objective key results. I love that, but still OKRs can be tricky because they can be conflicted. For me, OKRs start like this. The leadership or management part will define the objective, and the team will define the key results. And we agree on that. And OKRs, it should be something that foster collaboration. If OKRs are conflicted, for example, one team has an OKR that is conflicting with the other, that will not work at all. So we have an objective and then we define the key results. And sometimes multiple teams are working on the same key results. So the most important part is foster collaboration and empower team to make decisions. So let's take some more questions here. I have one here from Daniel. In the company that I work for, the user story and priorities are defined by product managers. Are we doing something wrong? Do you work with SAFe, Daniel? That is my question. Because there is this tricky thing. Sometimes we have the product manager and the product owner, but this is an anti-pattern because the product manager should be the product owner. Doesn't matter the title. The product owner is the responsible from end to end. But with SAFe, we have a new role that is the product manager. This is tricky. When we have the product manager, the product owner is not the Scrum product owner. The product owner is more like a backlog owner. You are responsible for managing the backlog. Okay, so I see one question here. What if you inherit a full roadmap? You should make it clear what is expected for that. For example, it happened with me many times because sometimes we land at a job and it's in the middle of a quarter and the roadmap is done already. And I arrived in companies where the roadmap was features based. And first thing is like you need to understand the scenario and why is it like that. Generally comes from the management, but it should make clear that there are better ways of doing roadmap. And for the current one, you just finished, and then for the next one, you can suggest better ways of doing so. But inheriting roadmaps can diminish the power of the team. And I know there are a lot of expectations on that, and it's a big process. But this is a battle that I said that's worth fighting. Because when the roadmap isn't sustainable, based on features and so on, that shows a low level of agility in the company. And it shows that Scrum is a mechanical thing. It doesn't matter if it's Scrum or if it is, for example, Kanban. It shows that the team is working to deliver features. But when the roadmaps are based on objectives and key results, then we have more hopes on that. So let's take another one here from Sebastian. Do you track the case, feature requests, etc., that end up in the trash out of the backlog? I mean, just to point them out, those appears over once again. I have a more dramatic approach to that. I didn't mention in the example of the product vision, but I like having the product goal because the product vision is something far. It's not always easy to connect. And for me, let's take SpaceX. The product vision of SpaceX is like populate Mars. 2 words. You can imagine. It's inspiring. It's hard to achieve, but you can focus on that. But how you could think about it, how to achieve that? What is the next step? The next step is called the product goal. Let's take something that happened already. Build a returnable rocket. That is the product goal. And then the question I like asking is, what is this feature helping us getting close to the product goal? If the feature help us get close to the product goal, then we do it. If not, I don't even create in the roadmap. I don't even put there in the backlog. I just ask the person, why should they pursue that if it doesn't help us to achieve the product goal? First, we achieve one product goal, then we create another and another, another. But the team focuses on one product goal at a time. Great. Really like the questions you're asking here. I will have a talk with Australian people about roadmap, and it is a hard topic, and this generally shows how the companies are really embracing agile, or if they are having kind of command and control in agile. That just doesn't work correctly. We have more questions here. So let's have a look here. I see one. Let's continue on the reasoning here from. Yeah, Daniel said that's right. Safe. POs managers the backlogs. PM acts as a business developer, but sometimes it's not clear the boundaries between the scope of PO and. Is there a clear line that defines the scope? I have a very strong opinion about Safe, Daniel. I even wrote an article that I shared this week, and for me, Safe is a waterfall undercover agent. For me, Safe is not based on agile. For me, Safe is based on RUP, RUP, Rational Unified Process. It's extremely robust process. It cannot be called as a framework. And I cannot connect to that because they put people in boxes. The product owner in this case is responsible. It's more or less like this and Safe. The product manager is responsible to define what is the right thing to do, and the product owner is responsible to and leading the team to doing the thing right. So you are like leading the team in doing the thing right, but the decisions are done by the product manager. I don't connect to this. I don't believe this is right, but this is how Safe works. We'll take one more here from Eva. What does the choice of metrics depend on? how to choose wisely to measure well business value delivered. Ooh, this is hard. It depends on the business, heavily on the business. If I take the example I gave of the e-commerce, the goal was to have a profitable business. That was the goal. We need to have a profitable business. And then we said, reduce the customer acquisition cost by 30%. So the metric is connected to the goal. So you think what you want to achieve and how to get there. In one of the companies I work, we had an extreme problem with our margin because we had a price automation tool and we were selling under negative margin. So our goal was simple, objective, stop the bleeding. And the objective is we have no sales with a negative margin. So our reason price should ensure that we don't have a sale with negative margin. And then we develop tools for that. So think what you want to achieve and which KPIs will allow you to measure that. I think that is the way. More questions. Matt is asking here, people. Let's go. So let's see some more things here. How would you handle critical bugs from customers in the sprint? That is important. This is, as Marty Kagan said, this is the work of keeping the lights on, and we need to handle bugs. Bugs are exception. They are not the rule. I think we treat them as they come. What I don't like doing is segmenting a sprint. For example, 50% of the sprint is for features, 20% for maintenance, 20% for bugs, and 10% for slack time. For me, it's not like that. For me, a sprint is meant to achieve a goal, and the goal is important to get us closer to the product goal. And I trust developers to make decisions based on what is best for the product. Sometimes a bug will appear and then we have to fix that. And it's about alignment. Product owners should empower team instead of micromanage them. So if a bug appears, we will align and then we ask, what can we do about it? Any advice on how to become a product owner? Well, I have many advice. You can get them in my course, How to Become a Strong Product Owner. That is for people who want to transition to this or in the beginning of the career, but I can give you some here. My belief is simple. How can you become a conductor in an orchestra? I guess that to get to the orchestra as a conductor, you need to be a musician before. Because first you learn how to play music, and once you know how to play music, you can help people make the music beautiful, and everyone can play in symphony. What I believe a product owner is the person who has experience in the product development. It doesn't matter which role you had, but you have relevant experience either as a developer, as a product designer, UX researcher, business analyst, but you are involved in the process of making the product. And then once you get experience on that, you should develop the other parts of your skill. If you are, for example, in my case, I was a developer. I had to develop the product management skills, also the design skills to understand things, how the dots connect. Then you can become a product owner. But I believe it's too risky to become a product owner without having any experience with product development. The same for a conductor in an orchestra. You cannot go there and lead an orchestra without being a musician. What do you think about CPOs? I think they are important, and I think companies should invest in them. But CPOs, they should be part of the executive team. And CPOs are the one who should prepare the environment. They are not the ones who have the great ideas, but they are the ones who set the environment where great ideas can be created. CPOs are these, the ones who create the environment. And how can they create the environment for great ideas to come and to proliferate? They can do that if they are part of the executive team. And companies sometimes put them in a weird position, reporting to CTO or reporting to a business director. Then that's not going to work. That is limiting. They have to be part of the leadership team. Great. So let's see what else we have here. What tools do you use to identify the user needs? I like actually using user research. I like having interviews with users. You don't need an interview with a lot of users. It depends what you have. 6 is a good number. A dummy prototype will help you get a lot of information. And I like, as I said, simple things. The cheaper, the better. So let's see. We have more questions here. We have one here from, how do you trigger change and challenge status quo in traditional companies? That's a good one. I will give you one insight here. For me, it's the following. We can easily overwhelm this company by bringing the view of a perfect road. Imagine a mountain, and then we say we want to be at the top of the mountain. That is where we want to go. But then we overwhelm them. It's very hard to get to the top of the mountain. But what is holding them from getting there is not the mountain, it's the stones on their shoe. And if you find how to remove the stones from their shoes, then you can get the first step. So meet the companies where they are and help them get the next step to the next step, and so on and so on. Don't try to get them to the top of the mountain directly. They are not able to get there. But if you help them step by step, that is what you should do. So first, understand what is the next step they should do to get closer to agility. Sometimes is setting the product vision. That is the first step. And then setting product goals, the next step, then, and so on and so on. But don't try to overwhelm by doing everything at once. Got a feedback here from Mr. White, pretty inspiring. Spend 1 hour in really good way. Thank you a lot. That motivates me to keep on it. I have another. As PM, you also need to provide the main metrics from the product, which techniques you use to support goal setting, which facts can better support, educate OKRs, etc. Well, I don't have like techniques in my mind that I use for that. I think which metrics will define success for us. The first thing is, what is success and how can we measure that? And then we define the KPIs for that. And then we define what would put us far from being successful. So that I like asking what is success and what is not. And then we define the metrics for that and we monitor. And for example, once we are implementing something, then we measure how we are doing that. The example I had with the member get member feature at Avino, we had the metrics of conversion rate, traditional one, and we also had conversion. Then we look at conversion rate on mobile device and also in desktop, and we had some specifics to understand the users. So we want to understand the rationale of getting someone there or not. Okay, so thank you, everyone. I hope it was great for you, and I hope you could enjoy here. It was really, really inspiring to be with you, and I hope we can do more of that. I always do webinars. You can just follow me on LinkedIn. I'm planning another one soon, and the next one I will talk about the 10 attitudes of outstanding product owners. And soon I will have one also about roadmap, and I want to see you there. I will ask, I will answer the last questions, and then I will finish. So let's get 3 more questions here. I will take one and just give 2 more, and then we will finish here. How technical, in your opinion, PO generally should be? I don't think PO needs to be technical, but I think product owners should understand how to talk with different people, should understand how to talk to your UX, what is important, and should understand why is the value, what is the value of UX, should understand why refactoring is important for developers, why updating a library is important, should understand how to connect the boxes. So I think product owners understand a little bit of everything and know the reason why. And it's like a T, like this T profile. Like you have a broad knowledge and deep. So in one of the areas, you need to have a deep knowledge. So that is my thing. Mark, do we have more questions or should we finish? I can answer 2 more if you want. A lot of people here, such really nice. I was a little bit nervous today about sharing these. I didn't know how many people would come here, but I'm glad you enjoyed and I'm seeing a lot of positive feedback. I'm just waiting for you and my channel, waiting for you to more exchange. If you have ideas of more meetups, just write to me and we will do that. And thanks, Maddie, for organizing all of this. It was amazing. I really appreciate your invitation and giving me the chance of speaking in this round here. Thank you a lot. As I'm not seeing more questions, I will let you go and have your dinner. It was a pleasure to be here. I wish you all the best in your career. Let's keep the contact. Add me on LinkedIn and stay safe and stay healthy. Goodbye.